Hi, welcome to See You Live. I'm Lauren Sega, Associate Editor with Columbus Underground. Here with me is Stephanie Craddock Sherwood with Women Have Options Ohio. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So those of you who do not know, Women Have Options Ohio is a statewide organization helping women access abortions, whether it's by funding the last $100, the full cost of the procedure, getting them room and board near a clinic that will perform the procedure, or anything really that they need. Right now, Women Have Options is participating in the National Network of Abortion Funds Bowl-a-thon event to raise money for abortion access. I know that the national goal is about $2 million, which is ambitious.
Yes.
So I saw that you're actually a top earner
Yep.
on the website. That's pretty cool. But I saw that a lot of the top earners are from states that either have stringent laws restricting abortion access or are in the process of doing so, like Ohio, Kentucky, Texas. What do you think that says about the overall abortion debate nationwide?
I mean, I think in general it says that, even in these states where they're going to try to make abortion illegal, it's not what the public believes. I think the public is activated to keep abortion safe and accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it really shows the disconnect between what's happening in state houses across the country.
So what's the point of having it be a bowl-a-thon? Like, obviously, it's for fundraising, but does it kind of remove the stigma, kind of make it a more approachable conversation? I know that abortion can be seen as a dirty word.
Yeah. Well, a bowl-a-thon because we get to wear silly shoes and just kind of have fun. But it was when you think of funding abortion, you don't really necessarily think of bowl-a-thon, but it's something that's been happening now for 10 years. And it's a way that we can, because thankfully, how well one bowls has nothing to do with how successful we are with bowling. I think most of us bowl once a year for the bowl-a-thon. So, but
gradually getting better then.
Yeah, exactly. we have time for bumpers. But the bowl-a-thon is an opportunity for us to kind of expand our community by fundraising for a couple of months, being able to talk about abortion in a destigmatizing way, in a way that and train people also how to talk about abortion, because we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other side, they have kind of taken over that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can talk about it as healthcare, we can talk about it as necessary healthcare and as a human right, and attach it to something as silly as bowling.
Right.
It removes that stigma, and we do that every year for a couple of months, and it works to help folks have that opportunity to have those kind of kitchen table conversations with their family.
Sure. So as most people know, Ohio is in the process of instating a 6-week ban on abortion.
Yeah.
How is this time different than the last times that we've seen this legislation come in?
Yeah. So, the last couple of times the legislation has gone through, normally actually it didn't even make it through the Senate, but kind of as gerrymandering has really solidified the most conservative seats. Now it has the ability to pass both the House and the Senate. The House typically was the more conservative and anti-choice kind of wing. Now they moved from the House. Now they have the Senate, and now they have DeWine and he has pledged to sign the 6-week ban. Before, Kasich had always said that it was going too far. But now even Ohio Right to Life says that it doesn't, it's a part of their initiatives, their legislative initiatives, which they wouldn't even touch it, but now it's a part of their plan too. So it was kind of too much for them. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there isn't a pro-abortion access a majority to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Yeah.
So now this is the third time in as many years that we've seen a 6-week ban on abortion. Do you think that's changed the statewide conversation about abortion, and in what way do you think that is changing?
As far as the kind of conversation, that's a little hard to gauge, actually. Like, at least from my perspective, and I realize I totally live in a bubble.
We all do.
Yeah, exactly. But like, there's a real disconnect between people who are like, the complete, like the minority of folks that are really and truly like anti-abortion, and also between folks like me who live in this bubble and are in like our abortion on demand without apology. Most people are in the middle. Mm-hmm. And most of those folks don't know how to talk about abortion. Most folks are stigmatized, but they don't believe that, or think abortion is not something that's polite to talk about because it's stigmatized. And most of those folks, the vast majority of those folks, think abortion should be accessible and legal. They're just not they're not the people that are marching in the streets for either or. But they're also the people that are having abortions. Mm-hmm. 1 in 4 women will have an abortion by the time they're in their late 40s. Mm-hmm. That is a huge percentage of the population. And these are the folks that don't feel safe sharing their stories. They don't feel, they can't share that, the barriers that they had to go through, because it's not safe for them.
Mm-hmm. We've seen abortion as a conversation being siloed away from other reproductive health care conversations, but how do you see reproductive health care, but also healthcare overall, being impacted by a 6-week abortion ban?
I think we're already seeing it. I think we're seeing that it's definitely going to affect. It's the first of the dominoes. It's that slippery slope. It's the we see abortion access fall, then we see birth control access, and we're seeing that with the Title X fight and Planned Parenthood defunding. We're seeing that with Medicaid work requirements. Folks who, most folks who say that they're pro-life are also don't believe that everyone deserves access to healthcare in general. These are people who, they use that as a talking point, but they don't care if somebody's able to, get insulin for their diabetes. Mm-hmm. Very much of, the pro-choice, the pro-reproductive health access, we believe that everybody deserves access to healthcare, and that healthcare includes abortion.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about its effect on healthcare in general, but as your organization already assists people in accessing their abortion, how do you see your workload increasing?
Oh, that's tough. I think the main part, and we're working on this right now, is we have to build up a gigantic volunteer force, because if what the people at the State House are trying to do succeeds, we're looking at a timeline that's potentially like a year before clinics are closed in Ohio. That's a very real potential. And so that means getting folks to Michigan, getting folks to Illinois and to Pennsylvania. Illinois is kind of the real safe spot. But Michigan's also, and thankfully that there's a clinic right on the other side of the border to Toledo. But because as Ohio goes, so is, Kentucky might go before us or might go after us, but Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, those are all states that are going to fall probably around the same time as far as clinic access. So we're going to have to drive people, mm-hmm. and we are. We're going to have to, find housing for folks there. We're going to have to support whatever clinics can open up near the borders in safer states, because like all of this kind of stuff is happening. Mm-hmm. And people are, we've been preparing for this we were preparing it before Trump became president. But as soon as Trump became president, it became a very real thing that we were just like, okay, these are the things that we have to support, and these are the things that we have to shore up so that no one falls through the cracks, so that we can maintain access through other means if abortion becomes illegal in the state.
Mm-hmm. How do we expect, I know that there are networks forming to allow women to perform their own abortions at home safely using medications.
Yeah.
Do we expect that to kind of increase here in Ohio as well?
Oh, it will definitely increase in Ohio. It increased in Texas when during the whole women's health battle, when all the clinics closed, or a whole bunch of clinics closed in Texas, and people were having to drive too far, and it became inaccessible. So they would order pills online. And the thing is abortion with pills is safe. You know, it is inducing a miscarriage, and it is just as safe as having a miscarriage. And they found that most of the drugs folks get online, especially through kind of credible organizations, you know, people find that these organizations, and it's the right pills. But we're also going to see criminalization of that.
Right.
Currently, Ohio has some laws that would make that that could potentially be used against somebody who induces their own abortion or induces their own miscarriage, but it's not direct. But we'll see definitely the criminalization of that, and that's going to mostly affect poor women, and that's going to mostly affect women of color. And
can you elaborate on that? How we can expect that to impact those populations more so?
Yeah. Well, I mean, those populations are more so impacted by the, you know, in general policing, and folks who are getting their pills online. You know, if you're doing it through maybe more of a public access on through like not your own internet, or if you are using and you just don't have access to like lawyers. I mean, really, like, and so a lot of folks will, and just kind of like our bail system in general, our cash bail system, people are
coming in,
yeah, there's so many vectors that I'm trying to like pull it in, but like our bail system, people then just plead guilty because they can't afford representation. So they don't actually have a free and fair trial. But people of means can always afford that. People of means who can afford to go out of state and do it with less risk. You know, people who are of means might know that, you know, that those medications are untraceable in the system. You know, it's more education, more opportunity. Yeah.
I gotcha. So I know that we talked about the national goal was $2 million. Do you have a local goal here for
yes.
Funding?
We are hoping to raise $60,000.
All right, and that is by April 27th, right?
That's correct.
So what's the deadline for people to join and like form their own team?
Actually, the deadline is the bowl-a-thon. Okay. Some folks will join the day of the bowl-a-thon and just kind of like hand us a check and say like, this is my team. Right. But ideally, folks, we've got some things coming up, some like prizes and other like fun stuffs, some opportunities to boost one's impact coming up in later March. So I definitely encourage people to join immediately.
Yeah. Can they follow you on Facebook for more
Absolutely.
information? Awesome. And where can they sign up online?
bowl.nanaf.org/who, but you can also go to, or who 2019. But you also can just go to womenhaveoptions.org and get all of the information you need, or on our Facebook. We do a lot of communication about it because it is, I mean, it's a gigantic part of our budget every year. So, and it's all grassroots driven.
Awesome. Well, thank you. This has been Stephanie Craddock Sherwood with Women Have Options. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks so much.